Hey, welcome. Welcome to a live stream. Doing well. I'm sitting here lamenting in G minor again. My favorite key for some reason this month. Look it, I'm live. Oh, I gotta go over and change my title. It's not ModMate. Let's see here. YouTube live. There we go. I'm not even viewing what you guys are saying if anybody's there. Is anybody there? Hello. Welcome. My name's John Skippy Limcool. This is a live stream. I have released a new library. I need to let's see. Beautifully Broken is now out. Let's play with it. Oh, Philip, you did it. The Broken Heart. Perfect. Yes. It's like, hey, Bernie. Welcome, Tim. Good to see you all. Oh, I'm glad you like it. Yeah, I had, sometimes I'm laser focused on an idea, and I must admit, I built this library in less than 2 weeks. I just knew what I wanted. I knew what it needed to be. Airwave had started the path with drum loops with Airwave Volume 3 loops, and I was like, we can put loops into Omnisphere now. And so I called up Super Macho Drums. I made some drum grooves. I recorded them. Thank you. I'm glad you guys are digging the library. Here, I can show you in Stylus. I imported the Rex files. So it started with me making some drum loops. In the converted folder, there was this groove. Let's see, let me turn it up a little bit more so I can. And then each of the elements is available as a WAV file and an RX2 file. And I've had a couple of people asking, how do I use these? Because when you get the library, it just comes with this folder that says, beautifully broken drum loops, and you open it up and it's WAV and RX2, and there's no instructions. And so, I keep forgetting so many of you guys don't have like RX2 files. What do I do with that? Stylus RMX has been out for a while. A lot of people have used it for loading their own drum samples. A lot of you haven't. And so I'm going to make instructions to put up. I will add instructions probably this weekend, because inside is an RX2 folder with 61 drum loops, which are ready to be put into Stylus RMX. I think Fatmatic Pro is still available. There's other things that can play RX2 files, and I'll explain maybe the difference between them. And then the WAV files are here as well, so you could load those into your sequencer of choice. And let's say don't import, and that was the original loop, right? And then I went to Omnisphere and I loaded it up just as a test to see how it would sound. Let's see if I initialize this. And let's see, that's weekday. So this is one of the first ones that I did. Let's go to the Beautifully Broken. And notice I don't have like 80 libraries or whatever. I only have just Beautifully Broken here. So it's only the one library we're working with. And this was weekdays. That's down here under W. And when I loaded it in, It wasn't perfect. If you can tell from this, let's slow this down to 70 so we're playing at the same tempo. If I turn off the effects, it's a little better. But there's just this stuff going on, and I was like, you know, that's taking me down an interesting road. And so I kept working. I had just sampled my Pulse, which I used to make all these just unbelievably usefully cool basses. And I'm like, I know how to make sounds as dirty and old as you want with Omnisphere. I mean, between here, it's very easy to get into that territory. And all of our libraries in the past and most of the stuff inside of the Omnisphere library is kind of like this pristine, beautiful presentation. I was like, you know, it's time to get dirty. Let's get a little into the fun stuff. There's so many bands that really live in this kind of land of the vibey, you know, out there. There's so many bands that's their vibe to build on, and then they go in different places with it. But you need, these are not perfect. There's just enough stuff broken to start with, and then setting up the controllers like this gives you this whole range of places to go with the set. Right? So on top of this, this was the right time. I love how the universe just decides timing of everything. So Shane Dunn is this just wonderful person that lives in Canada. We will forgive him for that. I'm kidding, of course. And we've been talking about some different things, and he's incredibly smart, knows software, knows programming to a certain extent, learning all the time. And I brought these out, and I didn't even ask for such things to be made, but he made this show MIDI because of the live streams, and I believe because the environment keyboard broke. And so he's like, I'll make that for you. So he made a simple one. We brought out Airwave Volume 3, and it's got 4 controllers. And a lot of people don't have 4 controllers. You just have your mod wheel, right? Oh, let me see. Let me get this here to show a little bit more display of the... I want to make sure the camera angles are right for this part. So you just got your mod wheel and your pitch pin here, right? And now we've gone to using 4 controllers and doing all this fun stuff here. But not everybody is there yet. And you don't have hardware set up, and setting it up so it works right is a little tricky. I have some tips I'm going to show you in a minute about that. But he created this wonderful little program called ModMate. And what's great with it is, number one, you can go over here. Let's turn off the boxes. You can see how this has 4 lanes, and these are the outputs and these are the inputs. So it could be taking inputs, right? I have it currently set to non-standard inputs. Let me go back to ModMate and turn it off and then turn it back on. It defaults to 1, 2, 4, 67. So now it will see these. It has to be that your hardware is sending on an input that it sees, but you can use this without having any hardware. You can just use these as your outputs. So you set 1 to 1, 2, 4, 67, and you right click or control click on them, and it pops up the whole standard MIDI 127 spec. We had a request and we were able to also implement Aftertouch. So as you can see, Aftertouch is available to be sent on a fader, which is really cool. You don't have to perform it and do Aftertouch the way you want. You can go in after the fact and go like this and sequence it as automation. But what's fun is CC1 is your mod wheel, and there's these little boxes. And if you just check these boxes for all 4 CCs, I am now sending all 4 CCs with a mod wheel, which every keyboard has. And if you have a super cheap keyboard that only has pitch pins, some of the little tiny guys only have pitch pin, you can even go over and use pitch pin down or pitch pin up and checkbox these. So now I'm sending all 4 on pitch pin up. And it doesn't do pitch pin, it bypasses pitch pin. Okay, so you can very easily use something in our libraries or other, there's all sorts of places where this comes in handy. There's all sorts of, even Serum, Spire, other synths have 4 macro knobs. You can set those up. You can see what those, you can MIDI learn those to whatever you want. And all you have to do, let's see, well, I'm not gonna do it right now, but maybe at the end I'll show you how to get into that. But what's really fun with this is, let's say you don't have something like this. This is the Machine Jam. I just got my Korg M3 working, and it just so happens the touch screen is dead. It's kind of one of those things that happens with M3s after a period of time, I guess. I touch the screen and it doesn't respond to anything. So as far as I can tell, it is dead in action, missing in action. So, but it does have a real-time page, and when I move here, if I go over here and I call up this to see, you can see right here on the MIDI input, these are sending 71, 74, 79, and 72. If I go to ModMate, I can say I want to take input of, let's see, 74 is the first one. So 74. I want, now when I move 74, see, it sees it, it registers it. The second one is 71. 71. This one is 79. Whatever MIDI CC, your old stinky piece of hardware that you don't know how to edit or change, you just move it and it'll show in your DAW right here what it is, right? Oh, you can't see this. Let's see if I gotta see like this. If I go like, how do I get, I'm gonna change what you're seeing for a minute so I can go like this. There. Now you can see when I move a slider here, see how it's showing as a MIDI CC at the very top in this little tiny window right here? Right here it shows. And I can go to, oh, now I gotta get back to here and say ModMate, come back please. So I've got this 79, I need this one here, which is 72. See how I move this? It says 72 and it shows up to 127, so I know that's a CC. So I right click and I say 72. And I have now assigned it so that it's seeing these 4, but it's not sending anything out because I haven't checked any boxes. So I just go to this first one and I check this first box and boom, it's now sending out. And if you look at Show MIDI is set to show, it also can be changed to any MIDI CC numbers to display. It's showing up on 1. So even though this is sending up here 74 from this keyboard, it is registering and being rerouted to CC1 inside of ModMate, and Show MIDI is confirming that for me. So I can now just check these little boxes for each of these 4, and now these 4 sliders are being used. Right? So we've offered now our first software, and it's designed specifically to help with problems that might happen because of our growth in what we're doing in our voicing. And if you want, I can assign all 4 of these to be controlled by one fader. If I wanted to change this to CC1, now they're all controlled by my control of my mod wheel. So we tried to make this as simple, cool, and it's free. All you have to do if you want these, let's see, if we go to the Plugin Guru website, we now have, for the first time ever, oh, thank you. Oh, wait, close that. That gets you to the source page for show MIDI and stuff like that. But right here, we now have software. And you can click here, and you have to register at the site. And then after you've registered, you can get more information for either the Show MIDI or the ModMate plugin. And if you don't have to use these, Jason Schopfer pointed out to me, if you go to System, here is where it shows your modulation list. And I never realized this, but if you want, you could go to what we use for Breath Controller, and you could say, move MIDI controller. And let's see, let me turn off ModMate. Like, so here's ModMate. Let's have it go away. Go away. So no plugin. So we just have Show MIDI showing this, right? I want this to be set to show me 74, just so we can get this to work right? So now it shows me this controller on this Korg keyboard. If I want, I could go to Breath Control. I could say Move MIDI Controller, and now it's set to MIDI 74. And Foot Control is the other one that we use. I could also set that to Foot Control. And Soft Pedal, I could move controller and set that to 74. And now I've made a separate controller, which is controlling all of these. So you can do rerouting of controllers inside of Omnisphere. Let's see, reset, and go back here, reset, and reset. So if you say move MIDI controller is your option, then it's waiting to hear you move a controller to learn it. And then you can determine what your MIDI CC is down here. And it remembers those in its settings when you close it and start it. But what's fun with, let's get back our ModMate. What's fun with this is, like, its default is this. I've got this funky hardware up here. I saved the preset down here, so I just call that up, and boom, I've got a preset for this. And if you are familiar with sample libraries, if you're familiar with, like I was telling you about, if we were to have this be, let's say, well, everybody likes to use this one. So let's go to X for Serum. This has these 4 mod controllers. Let's see here. What libraries are we going to call up? Let's do Komoji. This is a really cool. This is from Komoji, a library we've released. These are moving, right? And if I wanted to, I think I can right click and say MIDI learn. And I could set it so that it learns each of these controllers. Oh wait, this is doing CC1 right now because of ModMate. So turn that off. So it's 74, and now it's moving. So you could do this to your hardware if you wanted to, and then find out what it is, and then make a preset that you would save down here for Serum, make a setup for other things so that you can quickly set this up to work with your mod wheel, controlling all of these kind of parameters in real time. It's got some useful utilityness like that to it. So if you need something like that, it's free. It's not for everybody. It's kind of specific needs, but if you're playing stuff like this and you want to have more control, because we have all these things now going on with the sounds, it's available for free for you to work with and try out, okay? Let me show you some of these other multis. This is such a cool library. So the idea being dirty pop alternate. Oh, I love this one, but we gotta be faster. So we go up here. These are tempo locked. So let's go like that, and let's make this go away. So we just have this. Hey, I'm in a different key. Now the mod wheel, let's see. So I need to go over to ModMate. And let's call up my setting. There. Got mod 1. And again, it is an ARP up here. So if you hold it down, it plays, but you can play short notes. And the other cool trick with this is above C, this gets into a range where it plays only certain notes, because if you look at the key range, it's cut off because this sound effect climbing to the top. This one actually has a pitch in it if you hold it. When you let up, it'll fall back down, which is kind of fun. But as you play up here, it's playing up here and it's been told that it can't play up there. So it cuts off. So you can do that for a whole different kind of melody. Instead of being every note played, it's kind of fun to do that sometimes. Take art patterns and live with them. So our open source under GPL3. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you guys like that. Does anybody know how to ModMate in Cubase? Oh, Cubase is tricky. If you maybe send me a note. It's Oh, you're welcome, Bernie. Yeah, no, there's so on top of the whole library, just so let's cover everything else that's included. This is the first library to include the 2019 version of bonus presets. So the envelopes are now expanded greatly. All of the sidechain envelopes that used to be exclusive just to Del Norte are now included. So this is like the LFO tool, kind of an approach that you can do in synthesis. It's not a separate effect. It's in the synthesizer, which is kind of cool. So if you have a sound, let's go to the Spectrasonics library. Let's go to the hardware library. Let's call out something like, oh wait, they have Slightly Broken. Let's initialize the multi. And we'll look at the bonus presets for a minute. I'll get back to showing more sounds because let's see, where was Slightly Broken? So if I wanted to use this, in a case like this, there's nothing on the common. It's a very simply programmed patch. So we could go over here, go Utility, add the imager, right click and modulate this with the mod envelope. And it could be any one of the four, let's say 4. And you want to turn down the volume because it's going to start getting loud, right? So go to 4, and now we can go down here to the Guru sidechains. And then it's a matter of just choosing your bottom volume and what your range is you want it to be. And look at your levels, because it's easy to get too loud because the imager can go considerably louder than your outputs will support. And to test this, let's go stack mode, and let's go to part 2, and let's go to Beautifully Broken and have a drum loop playing along so we can compare. And let's tune this up. And it's sidechaining. Right? And then what's fun with this is you can use that envelope. what you do is this. Let's go over here to the main and hit solo. This is the same thing as going to the multi and going to the mixer page and hitting solo, but it's quicker. Now you move a knob. That's kind of cool. We got sounds over here. All right, so let's modulate this, and you go to modulate all mod sources and say mod envelope 4. And then I believe 1 is the mirror. No, I think 2 is layer B. Let's also modulate this with mod envelope 4. And now we have filter and volume. Right? So, and you hear the drum loop is changing pitches. If you don't want it to do that, you can go to here and turn off pitch tracking and then use chorus to find the rate, the pitch that you want it to be. It's still changing pitch. Why aren't you? Hold on a second here. Maybe granular has different rules that apply to it or something, because it shouldn't be tracking pitch now. It still is. Interesting. I'll have to evaluate and check that out. I didn't know it would do that. It should be that it stops tracking pitch, but it's not. We're using the arpeggiator to play. For some reason, it's tracking, even though it's not. Okay, well, that's not supposed to be doing that, but it is. Anyway, so that's how you get sidechain working. I love to do detours. I'm sorry, I take you guys all over the place way too quickly. But sidechain is one of the bonus envelope presets that are now inside of here. And there's not just one, there's over 20 of them. So you have a lot to play with and try with. The other things that are included, the ARP has been greatly expanded. Oh wait, cancel. You can get down here to ARP. There's now nested folders, which is nice. You've got the starters, which can give you a blank starter, which is really handy. It's the same as going blank on the list that they have, so it's not that important. But the 4x4 kick is really cool because it just pops up quarter notes so you can start programming away. These are nice to just simplify things, get just to 8th notes or 16th notes. Then there's things like the chord. I keep clicking. So in here are all of these really cool different settings rhythmically and you just play a chord. And yes, the first note of the ARP, even if it's a chord, is a single note. Someday that will be fixed, I hope. So you have like almost 700 ARP patterns. The effects have been greatly expanded. Let's go over here and choose a sine wave. Let's turn off the ARP. Why is it a sine wave, Skippy? What are you trying to do? Well, if you go down here, you have auxiliary buses, which will give you like delay and reverb, which you can put on the auxiliary bus so it comes up and goes away. They're designed kind of for that, but they're cool if you just put them on the common like I just did. But here under distortion for guitars, these are all the really cool distortion presets that we created for Mega Magic Guitars Volume 2. I am releasing them so that people can use them just by buying any of the libraries. In February, we will be updating this to the other 36 Omnisphere libraries. Until February, it is exclusive only to Beautifully Broken. I mean, this simply is over 1,000 presets. It could be $30 to buy by itself. It's free when you buy Breaking Beautifully Broken. Now I want to say Breaking Bad for some reason. It's really funny. So anyway, there's And by the way, if you're on the Flame Distortion, you've got this list of all these different types. Anyway, you can get very carried away very easily. Distorted rain. So those are in there. You've got everything separated into categories instead of being a running stream forever now. Mix. This is the standard compressor limiter that gives everything just this like a little bit more purified in your face, a little bit louder sound. Yeah, no, we can't use Breaking Bad. Yeah, experimental accidents. I like that. Yeah. So all of those are included. On top of that, under granular is now the presets. All of the presets, these came with Creaturesque, because Creaturesque was the first library that really explored granular. So you could say Beautifully Broken Drum Loop, and this loads up the Beautifully Broken Drum Loop settings for granular. But the way to get this to work is far more complex than that. It's a lot easier, trust me, to buy either Airwave Volume 3 loops or one of the Beautifully Broken, because it's using the arpeggiator, it's using an LFO that's changing both the sample start time and it's cycling through the position. It's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. You can get all sorts of crazy accident stuff going with these too. If you want a different sound of the loops, just go to granular and put it to wild mode, and then you're in trouble. Okay? And I've had people asking, and this is purely up to you guys. It's not going to break Omnisphere in any way. If you go to the Sound Source browser and you turn on user audio, you could go over here and go to the drum loops, RX, the wave, and you'll want to rename this, because I should have thought about that. This should be like wave or something like that at the end, because now I can drag this and put it right here. I'll do it real quick because I don't have a lot of stuff in the Sound Sources browser. It will load in so that you now have access to all of the drum loops, all 61 are now loaded. So the full mixes is all I used for the library. So I'm going to fix that. I need to make sure you rename your folder so it doesn't overwrite your original folder. I didn't even think about that, and everybody wanting to do that. But now you can just have the kick. And go to part 2. And let's call up another drum loop to start with. And go over here and turn on stack. And let's load up trash. Or the hi-hats. So now you can make, now granular is going to kill your computer very quickly. So make sure that you deal with that reality and realize you're going to have to bounce things out, so forth. But if you need to make really broken beats, Omnisphere is a great place to go and play. I mean, turn off legacy mode, turn on wild mode. Get some detuning going on. And off you go into 9 Inch Nails territory or whatever you want to do. So you can do that, but please, I need to fix that really quickly. I need to make sure that that one says Wave and this one says RX2, just to be clear. I'll do that. I'll upload these as soon as this live stream is over. Just rename that folder, okay? On top of that, you have the artwork and the manuals and so forth. If you want to do this inside of this Stylus RMX, there's 2 steps involved. let's see, let me get this so I can get the applications to Sage Converter. You need to download, you would type into your Google search, recycle library, or REX shared library is what you would say. And that will get you to, let's see, REX shared library. If you do that, that will get you to Propeller Heads, which gives you the chance to download. This is for Mac. I think they have it. Oh, no, the 64-bit version only supports PowerCC. I'm not sure what the deal is with PCs. I think that there's a similar, there used to be a thing for PCs here on the same page, but it's not here now. Interesting. But you need to have the REX shared library, and then you need to run the Sage Converter, which is, I have that inside of my Spectrasonics. Let's see. Inside of my Spectrasonics folder. So if you come over here, you run the Sage Converter, and what you would do is you'd open Beautifully Broken. This is after you've confirmed your Sage, your Stylus RMX works as expected. It's all working good. That way Sage knows where everything is at. And then you would go to the Beautifully Broken drum loops, to the RX2, take this folder and drag it to import Rex and let up, and it will copy over and slowly install, but you have to install the Rex library first or it won't do it. And then when you get to Stylus RMX, they show up. For me, they showed up in a different folder than I was expecting, in the converted Rex files. If we go to all, let's see, if we go up here to EXP and then to user libraries, you have to go to converted Rex files, and then they're here. So, okay. Okay, so, if you forget to turn off the button. Okay, so you can import these into your sequencer, any other sample player's WAV files. The RX2 files are for Stylus RMX or for other Rex RX2 players. There are others that exist out there. I believe Geist does. There's other ones that do as well. So you can, it's just, I thought it would be a fun bonus to include those. It wasn't that much extra work to do so. So if we get back to the multis, and let's see here. Let me make sure that this is up and running as expected. Oh, I'm on Stylus, so. And by the way, I love the demo songs. I did those in about 2 hours or less. I think I should make a record from them. It was a really cool vibe. It wouldn't take that much to flush them out and turn them into. I especially like the ones for this one and Solo Serengeti. Those were pretty cool. All right, so this is another one that's really fun. This is a bass split. And Slider 2 makes the piano turn into a pad. While the bass gets nice and buzzy. And I did this in the demo. I played it in this way. And then I went back and I did an overdub track where I'm just bringing up that fourth controller on the snares every now and then. Really tasty, and then mixing it out. It's hard to do that live and keep everything playing in time and getting it smoothly. So you can do stuff like that. No, I'm still in G minor. I'm playing C minor now. But I keep wanting to go back to G minor. Chilly Weather. I got this idea and I actually started with Serengeti to do this. So let's do that first. I love solo Serengeti. I could play this for literally, we could start this live stream and in 6 hours I'd still be playing. And mod 2, it makes the drums get thinner until they go away. And if you want, you can turn off the drums and then restart them to get the thunder back. And then turn this off, bring down the mod wheel, and back in drums. The other cool trick, the bass is mono. So you can play anything you want with the sustain pedal down. And also, the pitch bend only affects the guitar. Kind of nice and cool. So I've been making combinations with rhythmic splits for 20 years, ever since probably the T series for Korg. So I love doing stuff like that. And Omnisphere does this stuff real well, so why not keep doing, right? If you know my libraries, I love doing this kind of stuff. So Chilly Weather is a similar thing, but it's a windstorm. And C sharp is the second drum loop. So you could do this stuff where you have just the drums playing. Let's do A minor. Oops, got my B flat. So, 2 loops, not just 1, but 2 to play with. And the same mod control 2. Okay, that was fun. Found love on YouTube. We started this last week, I believe, and then I used speakers and did a little bit more work to it, and we're now Now, I didn't do this, and it's optional. If you wanted to play in better timing, you can go in here and set things to a trigger mode. This is kind of a layover from Stylus RMX working this way, but if you have BPM parts, if you go to these guys and you say trigger to 16th notes and do it to everything. The piano I could do without. It's just tricky because everything else is on clock, but now it's gonna play perfectly. I just don't like that sometimes it doesn't play because you missed it by a little bit of a timing. And if you go back and you quantize to 100% in your sequencer, it will tighten everybody up and it will play with the sequencing being timing tight. So you don't know where one is, right? And so when you play a note, sometimes you're right and sometimes you're not. See, I'm not right. So I don't like that effect happening when you're just playing it to no clock that you're aware of. It's like it needs to have a little, so you know what you're supposed to be playing to, right? But so because those are off, you can be playing and make it sound pretty sloppy. Which is okay for these kind of sounds, in my opinion, you know? Now, if you want, go to part 3. And if you want, you could go here to choose a different piano. Dirty Road to My Heart. And then maybe go over here to main and transpose it down an octave. Right? So you can change up the sounds pretty easily. If you go, oh, I want a guitar kind of sound in this, go to here and what it is not what it has to be. Just you can change things up if you don't like the bass, but it's always drums on 1, bass on 2, keyboard sound on 3, and then the special effects sound on 4. And if you want, there's other special effects here, or just go down to effects and these are all really cool. I'm very happy. Oh, the Rainstorm, those are ones, but I love Spilt Cereal Box. And when you take your hand off the sustain or take off the note, it will dive down. So that's pretty cool. I'm gonna write some love songs tonight. Yeah, this is, you know, Valentine's right around the corner, so it made perfect. I just tied it in with Valentine's Day. Love, broken, because, you know, that does happen. Mellow Mandolin Morning is nice. This is using the mandolin and is my thing. See here. So this is using, oh wait, this is, yeah, mandolin guitar. Bye. And then I layered it with a pad on part 5. This is one where I messed up. Oh, the other thing that comes with the bonus content are stacks. I created all sorts of stacks so that you can call up the default one that I start with when I made these, as well as 5, 6, 7, 8 samples across the keyboard. If you wanted to load in multiple samples, you can try that. And the OMG kit, loop, and groove are what I use for the OMG libraries to make the groove. Like if you select these, what this does is it just maps across the keyboard where the 8 possible patches will be. Now you have to fill them up, and you have to program it and set it so that you turn on latch mode and all that stuff. But it just gets you started in the right direction. Here where it's bass, guitar, effect, you know. But if it turned off part 5, so we could go back here, turn back on the pad, and then window it so that it only plays. It's playing now, but it's down low so you don't hear it. But see how it's up here? For some reason, I've had we won't talk about Omnisphere issues. So now you're back to. Who wants to sing? Someone needs to sing to these, right? Modern Montana. This is kind of a fun take on kind of, I was thinking kind of the cowboy disco. Let's see here. Please wait while it loads all the parameters. We need to be a little bit faster. So let's go to like 93. Mod wheel up, or yeah, mod wheel or controller 1. Again, if you go to the live and you were to go to BPM bass, trigger this with the drums. That's in tight. Could be because I'm live streaming and running multiple cameras and all sorts of stuff that it's having a few issues. Sometimes Champions, I love this one. This is kind of the more big M83 kind of the. So the pitch for this one sound is on mod control number 2. Like if we were to take this apart, little modulation and filter action here. Unison, harmonia. His has some distortion and phasing. And then more effects. So you can take things out in cool ways. Fun. And I turned off latch just now, but turned it back on. The cool thing with latch is you play one note, it starts the arpeggiator. So it doesn't stop until you play that same note again. So using that, you can do all sorts of fun things. Sticking to it, this is fun. Any questions? I cover a lot and I do it kind of weird, but oh, this is fun. Now this is a combination of two lead sounds. And then this is one of, I've showed these last week in the live stream, I believe. I'm using granular. And I'm focusing. If I wanted to use this part, with a different sound, turn on layer B, which is a synth wave, and then tune this. And now I'm using that as the lead voice. Let's see, go over here and turn off solo mode and. So off you go. I love that bass. My computer's dying. Do you guys like the probability? The drum loops, sometimes they miss parts, so it's going fine, but once you start playing, it's like, oh, I'll miss that snare or that hi-hat part every now and then. It's pretty fun. Yeah, the bass. It's part 3, and it's using the snap comes from the Waldorf Pulse. And the effects. They're just a little bit around from a waveform. And off you go. So fun stuff. On top of this, there's more lead sounds. There's more of most every category in the patch list because there's 129 patches total. So let's see. Sunday Split. This is just kind of a typical, just electric piano and bass. A nice pad. often fun. It's a hip place for Sunday. Unsure Horizons. This is a fun one. There's another one of these. I believe I skipped it up here earlier. I think Big Dirty City is the other that has the BPM synth pad. For those of you that are into programming, this is pretty fun. Check this out. So part 3 is Dirty City, and I'm using an LFO that is, how did I do this? Let's take a look. If you want to learn how something is done, you hit right here and you study to see what's going on. Turn off the layers. Here's A, right? So when you hit the magnifying glass, it only shows the colors for those that are used for A. And this is using LFO 6 to the Toxic Smasher. Oh, here's where we got all sorts of stuff. LFO 6 is also to amplitude. So if you go over here to LFO 6, it's a pulse waveform and it's set to 8th notes. But it's not playing straight 8th notes. It's doing a rhythmic pattern. So you'd say show modulation is envelope. And if we mute that, it would just be a pulse, right? Right? But it's fun to have some rhythmic variety sometimes where it's not just, you know. So if we look at mod envelope 1, it's doing this thing where it's bumping things up and down on the LFO speed. And I could go over here and hit snap. And if you hit add, it will add one right in the middle automatically. And let's say that's how that go down. And you see it shows you the timing values up there, which is really handy. So we could say, let's say 16th triplets. And then on top of that, there's B layer, 2 together, just for a thickening effect. And then C. All together. And yes, I did forget that I could hold down Command and hold and click here to hear these. So, and then the other trick to getting these to work is just knowing enough about mixing to get the drums sit the right place. It's not easy to get these elements to work. And if we were to go through each one of these and turn off the effects, let me show you how important the effects are to things like this. Just turning off the effects for those 3. We're not using the effect, but those 3 off. That's with no effects. So the effects are pumping the crap. I'm using the super economical, but it's got a cool snap to it, the stomp compressor to shape it. That's without it. So that right there is huge. And then I'm actually multi-compressing with a separate compressor to take the whole thing and give it more shape. So the effects are really important. The bass, So study these. There's a lot of tricks going on. I'm working very hard to get certain things in each sound to be the prominent thing and give respect to the other sounds so that so it came out great, but the effects play so much with stuff like this. So, you know, yeah. Hey, Shane. Everybody say hey to thank you to Shane. Shane is the hero of the day for sure. He is the one that made these really cool MIDI effect plugins and the ModMate. So, yeah, it's Cubase it's really funny. They created the MIDI spec or the VST, not the MIDI spec, but the VST spec back in the day, and they're not up to date with how things work with MIDI effects for Cubase yet. So, you know, they'll get it. I think they will figure that out at some point and release an update. So it's just a matter of time. Everybody wants to be able to do MIDI effects at this point because they add really cool abilities like this. Let's see. Merry belated Christmas to all. That's very nice. So this is When the Rain Comes. Why is it not playing right? Let's see here. MIDI Spec 2.0 has been announced. There'll be, I think there's some stuff going on at the NAMM show about it. There's a lot of things going with more high resolution for things. MIDI Spec has been around for like 30 years. And so this, you know, MIDI CCs have had the values of 127 steps forever. Pitch bend is the one that has always had more steps of resolution. So they're up in the, basically it's just adding more resolution to controllers. They're doing a lot of stuff where if you plug in a MIDI cable between a computer and something outside, there can be greater integration. There's all sorts of cool things like that going on. I read just a little bit about it, but it's really exciting. Okay, so When the Rain Comes, let's see if we can get this to play right. For some reason it was... Wow. You know, when it does stuff like this, I usually will just go to Omnisphere and say, okay, go away and come back. Go to your room for a minute. Because it's doing something it's not supposed to do that. So we go multi... Beautifully Broken, When the Rain Comes, and give it a second to load everything, don't touch anything, and then wow, I definitely did not program it that way. Let's see here, go Beautifully Broken. This is a Wicked Snapper, so BPM bass. Let's see. I don't know why it's doing that. I'll have to check after the live stream and see if something got messed up between this and the bass part, because it's, see here, 2. Wow. Let's see, go bass part. Let's just load in a different pattern. We can go to multi-mode and do one last test. I don't like when things don't work during a live stream like this. It's not fun. Huh. Something's not right. So if you guys want to check, let me know if when the rain comes in your setup. Yeah, they're talking about, we actually have an instrument version of ModMate, but we decided not to include it just because it's a tricky workaround. There's chances of it not working right, and we didn't want to be responsible if it did something wrong. Yeah, if you want them, there's the link. Shane is giving you the link that will get you to the instrument version of ModMate. In Cubase, apparently you run 2 separate tracks with 2 different instrument plugins, and they can talk to each other when you're playing them together, something like that. But I didn't want to put that onto the website because that's just that's kind of risky. So Cubase users, unfortunately, at the moment, MIDI effects aren't being supported properly. If you go to the getdune.net, it's just look at the chat, right where we're at. Shane is sharing a link that will get you to where you can download the instrument version for now. I'm not sure how long we'll keep it hosted there, but at least for the short term, it's there. Okay. Anyway, so there's something wrong with that one. It shouldn't be doing what it's doing. I'm going to check after the live stream and see if maybe it's just some sort of a weird parameter that got messed up. It does happen on a rare occasion. Where the wind blows. So cool, that big bass. Okay. And if we go to the patches real quickly, I'll give you a quick rundown. There's 129 patches. Everything that is used in the multis is saved into the library. And then you have all the BPM, you have all the effects, the chords, guitars, keyboard sounds, lots of leads, lots of pads, some really nice, beautiful pads. We're going to have to compile a list of all of the plugins that have support for MIDI effects. We haven't seen the whole list yet, so we'll try to put that together. Other pads. And all the patches change this to show MIDI CC1. There. There. So lots and lots of different pad types of vibes can be gotten from these. And then there's also a more Elka thin retro kind of version. This is using, kind of cool, it's using the Solina. And when I turn on the Solina, it didn't do enough, so I actually added an EQ and then boosted the daylights out of certain frequencies, which give it that Elka. But without EQ, it's not there. So if you need, there's times where you use certain effects on certain sounds. You need to shape the sound before it hits the effect to get the effect that you want. So that's what we did. Major Matrix. This is using a pulse sample. Wait till you hear the full Pulse library. I'm working on the Waldorf Pulse library that will be coming out in the next 2 or 3 months. And oh, thank you, Artec. Glad, thank you. Yes, ModMate should work in Logic Pro 9. They had MIDI effects back then, so. All sorts of fun places to go with these sounds. The basses I'm especially proud of. That's where a lot of the Waldorf sound. I use a sim. This is coming in on the breath controller, so it's like. Combine that with the pulse sample. And Omnisphere is so good at that solid low end. So you can rip someone's head off if you need to. And if you like a certain sound, remember that if you like that vibe and you want to make your own patches, variations, find something a little different, be unique, hit the sample folder and then hit sound match. And what it does is Omnisphere has tons of tagging that they've done, and they've got it so that it's to a system where it can give you a really detailed similarity list with like probability of similarity as you go down the list to where, no, there's no probability with any of these sounds. But up here, you can come up with your own sounds very easily. Then all you have to do is go save patch as, and it'll pop up into, you could put it into this folder if you wanted to and put your own initials at the end of it so you know your patches from the other patches. There's all sorts of ways to work. Yeah, well, the library came out last night, so hurry up. Yeah, a lot of you guys like this one. I've gotten some really great feedback. If you guys have a minute and you've bought the library and you enjoy it, it would mean so much to me if you would put a little review on the site. All you have to do is just go to, cancel. Go to the Plugin Guru website. Let's see if we go new Plugin Guru. I will show you the steps. You need to be logged in. So you first log in That way it knows the libraries that you've purchased. And then when you go to the Beautifully Broken website, the page, down at the bottom right here, you can write a review. And one of my customers has written a nice review, popped it up there. I would love to have a whole bunch of reviews. That helps me more than anything. So if you have time and you don't mind helping Skippy, it helps just people know that a library is worth investing in. Say why you like it. Don't just say, I bought it, can't wait to play with it. Actually play with it some, and then share thoughts of what you liked about the libraries. That helps people really in really cool ways. And so if you can, that would be much appreciated. Thank you, guys. Yeah. All right. Are there any questions? There's so much more. Oh, I was going to show you Twangstrum, wasn't I? I forgot. Okay, let's do this. Let's get that to go away. This just came out from our friends at Yuhi. Let's get a drum loop. Let's find one that sounds like it could be nice. That'd be good and twangy. So let's go to our effects list, and here we go. This is Twangstrum. And this is to model not the spring reverbs like in a studio, but the spring reverbs that you get in a guitar. And if you pick up a guitar amp and you move it, oops, excuse me. Yeah. Oh, excuse me, sorry, you know. But it can do some really cool things. Because there happens to be 3 different types of springs, between 4, 8, the 2 and the 3 springs from different types, as they call them. I wonder what 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, and maybe 10 sounded like. But there's modulation sources of an LFO, an envelope, and a modulation page where you can take all sorts of inputs, as well as Control A, Control B, and assign those to change parameters up here in the sound. And I made some patches. Let me see, are my patches still in here? They might have gotten replaced. I'll have to install them. You can do inputs, all sorts of things. They have overdrive. They have it doing more than just. Right? Classic short. So if you want a different vibe, I had it doing this. Let's see if we go to the LFO and let's set it to this shape. And then I was having this input. Let's stop it for a second so it doesn't drive everybody crazy. I was saying having the LFO go to the input right here, I believe. Oh. I think I can set this to time basis so we could say quarter note. Anyway, I was doing something like this. I have the presets somewhere. I gotta check to see where they're at. But you can play with it in really cool ways. We could have the decay set up to be this. We could say LFO. Just drag your target where you want it. You can do some really cool things. So it's reverb in cool ways and can be modulated. The presets, there's a ton of presets to go through. If you were to put this onto something other than this, let's go back to Serum for a second. And maybe I've got some sort of, in Kimoji, we could go to BPM Synth and find something that's. But the reverb sounds actually really nice on a lot of synthesizer sounds to give you a different kind of a sound. Here's your mix. So it sounds springy on drums. You hear a little when you play short. Here's without it. Let's go to the effects and turn off reverb here. That's such a bad reverb. Anyway, it's really cool, and you can make it twang anytime you want. You can even modulate the input and the motions that you can say envelope can be set to the twang. So then it will twang when it gets an input signal, which is really cool. So all sorts of fun things. Deep respect, nice live stream. It's very nice. Thank you. Any questions? I'll ask it one more time, and then we'll do our shout outs. Where's everybody at today? We got the same crew that's here every week. It's really nice. Oh, good. Yay. It works in FL Studio. Yes. Well, shout out from Portland. I'm leaving Tuesday to drive to Los Angeles for the NAMM show. And can't wait. We'll be showing, make sure that you follow the Plugin Guru Instagram and Plugin Guru Facebook. We'll show news and pictures and stuff of what we see. There's rumors of some interesting things going on. So you'll want to check those out as the little trade show progresses. Shout out from Spain, Albany, New York, right on. Port Ludlow, Washington. Hi, Bruce. From Holland, from Marcel. Camus. Still wondering if a reverse library for Omnisphere is on your radio radar. I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. I hadn't thought about doing a reverse library. Chile, Ontario. Oh, Burr. Thank you, Super Dave. He just bought Beautifully Broken. He's going to go play with it. Yeah, it's a fun library to play with. There's a lot of inspiring, fun stuff. You can jam for hours on some of these. It's so nice. Germany, Saxon, Germany. Hi, Andre. Right on. Good to see you. From Bill in North Carolina. Near Bavaria. Nice. Hey, Tim. Good to see you. Thank you. I'll try to have fun at NAMM. It's more like a reunion. I've been doing NAMM shows for, this is like 30 years now. So, yeah, 1988 was, 89 was the first, winter 89 was the first trade show I went to. So this is 30th year. Yeah, and I worked 18 of them straight, both for Korg and for Ilios, showing my drum loop libraries, things like that. So now at this point, it's just going to see friends, have dinners, talk about things. I'm actually speaking at a conference. I should make more noise about that. It's happening, I believe, on, when is the Synthesis Club? It's called the Southern California Synthesis Club, I believe. We're speaking after Alan Parsons. So I've worked with Alan Parsons before, but he probably doesn't remember me. And let me see here. Where is... We were discussing this on Facebook with everybody. I think it's Sunday at 12, something like that. Yeah, something like that. Look for the Synthesis Club, and we're there doing our thing. So fun event. There's myself, Jack Hotop, Edward El Talierante, who does incredible sample libraries, um, Christian Matriano from Kurzweil, Don Lewis, this unbelievable pioneer in using electronics and synthesis. We all sit on stage and we're asked questions by Oscar, the host that's invited us, and talk about synthesis and sound libraries and where we're going in the future and all sorts of interesting questions. Yeah, so if you're at the trade show, send me a note, let me know. I'll find a way to make it so we can connect and say hi in person. I love saying hi to everybody. This is a personal business. It's not one where it's just, send it out and not need to connect with people. I love to connect with people and say hi. So shout out from Illinois, right on Cornell, and Camas, Idaho. Oh, from Camino. I think that's Camino Island, Washington. Ken? I saw ID and I thought you were in Idaho. Dallas, Texas. Very cool. Yeah. So that's going on. Other stuff's going on. Thank you for watching. I'm out of here. There's all sorts of, it's going to be a busy day. I got a big schedule. But I'm so glad you guys stopped by, and thank you as always sincerely for your support. Buying these libraries keeps yours truly in business, pays my bills, keeps me thinking about what to do next. So I appreciate it very much. All right. Take care. We'll see you later.